You watch TV?
No. Well, a little football. Why?
Football, see? It's all men. Whatever happened to women? I mean, real women on television. I'll tell you, I'm sick of it. I turned on the TV last night. I thought I'd give myself a little lift. And all I got was hair. Big hair. Little brains. Some network executive's idea of the perfect woman. I'll tell you, I'd like to meet those guys' mothers. And when I think about the stuff that I was raised on, America's favorite father used to call his daughters Princess and Kitten, but he called his son Bud. Kitten, I mean, there's no way you can become a corporate executive with a name like Kitten. Oh, Kitten, should we merge with IBM? Should we attack at dawn, Kitten? I mean, what is that?
What about Lucy?
I loved her, see? And she was smart and strong, but she spent the whole time trying to hide it from Ricky.
So, who were your role models?
Role models, huh? What choices did I have? Miss Kitty, Hazel, and Harriet Nelson. A prostitute, a maid, and a housewife.
Perfect woman.
Exactly. And it's always been that way.
What about that female cop show?
Cagney and Lacey. They canceled it 3 times. I mean, it's a wonder they didn't try and kill it with a stick. What is their problem? I mean, why don't they make a show about a real woman? A smart woman. I mean, she doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, she shouldn't be perfect. So maybe she doesn't look like a model. Maybe she even has hips. I mean, there's a woman that I could relate to. A professional woman with an imperfect personal life. A woman who's doing her best to try and figure out where in the hell she fits in this crazy world. Huh? Nah. See, they'd never put a woman like that on TV.
Living in time and feeling every moment. Do I walk into tomorrow and never look behind? In a perfect world, everyone's dreams would all come true. What will the future hold? I wonder, what will the future hold? How will it all unfold? I wish I knew. Ooh, I wish I knew.
Hurry up. By the time we get there, the jury will be on their way home.
Try doing the 50-yard dash in high heels.
Maybe I ought to lay off the chips.
What are you, Mr. Nutrition now? You're the one who buys this stuff every day.
Well, you're the one that eats it.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't know we were counting.
I'm just saying, whatever you put into a machine's gonna affect how it runs.
This from the garbage disposal?
Look, there's a fundamental difference between us. I exercise, you don't.
Well, I can't help it. When I'm nervous, I eat.
So what's to keep you from exercising?
Eating is easier. So how many of these capital cases have you done?
5. My first one was Kenneth Stark, you know, the guy that held up that fast food joint and then herded everybody into the kitchen to mow them down.
What happened?
Gave him the death penalty. Still on the roll. Sends me fan mail every now and then. After I lost that one, I swore I'd never do a capital case alone again.
Thanks for including me.
Don't thank me, it was Ben's idea.
I tried to talk him out of it. I don't want somebody else's life on my hands.
Well, better your hands than some incompetent geek.
I'll take that as a compliment. Hank, look, the jury's been out 3 days, 4 hours and 23 minutes. What's your call?
I don't want to jinx it.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Jamal Michael Bell, guilty of murder in the first degree with special circumstances.
Your Honor, May the jury be polled, please.
Motion granted.
Juror number 1, what is your verdict in this case?
Guilty.
Number 2?
Guilty.
Number 3?
Guilty.
Number 4?
Guilty.
Number 5?
Guilty.
Number 6?
Guilty.
Number 7?
Guilty.
Number 8?
Guilty.
Number 9?
Guilty.
Number 10?
Guilty.
Number 11?
Guilty.
Number 12?
Guilty.
So how you doing?
Look, Jamal, now that the jury has found you guilty, this next part, the penalty phase, is really important. Look, we need your help, Jamal. This jury thinks you're a menace. They may not want to pay your room and board for the next 50 years.
It's not my idea. You unlock the cage, you ain't got to spend another nickel on me.
You don't have that option anymore, Jamal.
You're on trial for your life now.
I don't care.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't. I don't give a crap about my life.
Yo, man, I know you better than that. You got a son.
I don't want to talk about him.
He needs you.
And I'm gonna be straight up with you, Jamal. I know you're scared. The state wants to drop that pellet and watch you go up in smoke. Now, right now, Rosie and I are the only thing between you and death row. We gotta work together on this.
What happened, man? I mean, y'all was supposed to help me.
I tell you, it never ceases to amaze me how many pages of transcript one trial can generate. There must be 5,000 pieces of paper here.
This is nothing. Wait till you see what happens if this case goes through 10 years of appeals. It'll need its own renter space.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, I got hold of that minister. He barely remembers Jamal. I guess he only went to church that one year in the foster home.
Gotta find somebody who remembers him before his mother OD'd. Dr. K, that's what we need. The one thing that's gonna grab the jury's fancy. Make them think twice about dropping a cap on Jamal.
Hank, can I ask you something?
What?
How many of these cases have you won?
I'm 3 for 5.
It's not bad odds.
Yeah, if you're betting on horses.
Don't just hit it, stroke it, Rosie.
Hit it, stroke it. What is the difference?
The difference is whether it goes over the net. Your footwork is just as important as your stroke. You gotta move your butt. You can't just wait for the ball to come to you.
Why not?
Come on. I know you know how to do this. I've been giving you lessons for the past 27 years.
Doreen, in all those years, did it ever occur to you that tennis may not be my sport?
Anyone can play tennis. All you have to do is try. Now just relax. Here, bend your knees, shoulder to the net, racket back, keep your eye on the ball. Don't bend your wrist. You look like you're swatting flies. Look at your wrist. Look at your wrist.
How can I look at the ball if I keep looking at my wrist?
Okay, forget it. So why should I bother? Why don't you go take a shower?
Well, I'm sorry, Doreen, that I can't be your tennis partner. I guess you'll just have to make a friend.
I have plenty of friends. I just thought you could use the exercise.
What is that supposed to mean?
Nothing.
You think I'm getting fat?
No. Just mean we could all use a little exercise. How do you deal with the stress of your job? Look at you. Your shoulders are up to your earlobes and your face is all kind of pinched up.
I look that bad? Really? I don't have time to go to the gym anymore, Doreen, or I don't even have time to have a life anymore.
Well, what about jogging? You like to jog, don't you?
I hurt my knee.
Swimming?
It turns my hair green.
What about that exercycle Mom gave you last Christmas?
It's a lot of energy devoted to getting nowhere.
Got anything against sex?
Doreen, I don't have time to water my plants anymore.
Okay, forget it. Get so stressed out all your hair falls out like Sparkle on jelly.
Her hair fell out.
Even her eyebrows. It happened during her divorce.
Oh.
She finally took up competitive roller skating. You wouldn't recognize her now.
So her hair grew back?
Well, no. But you ought to see her legs.
Hey!
All right.
Okay, you try it.
See, Uncle Henry, I told you, nobody's gonna want me on that team.
That's because you got your elbow out a little too far. Bring it in about right here. Not too far in, but right about there. And don't forget to follow through. There you go. And the hard part's right here, right in your head. I want you to see the ball going through the hoop every time you shoot. Go ahead.
This is a joke. I give up.
All right, don't you want to be on the basketball team or what?
Yeah, but I keep messing up.
Well, Conrad, it's okay to mess up. It's just not okay to give up. Now get over here, grab some balls, catch some of these. You think Kareem never messed up? You think Magic was perfect when he was 12? Your daddy never gave up. You want to be a teacher like your mom. First, he had to go to high school, go back and finish high school, and then, well, everybody was working. He was going to night school to finish his degree. He took a little longer than everybody else, but he got it.
Maybe that's why he had that heart attack.
Come on, get over here, do some foul shots. I gotta get some water. Here, give me 20.
Now turn around! Turn around! Hit the dirt! Face down! Down!
What's the problem? What? What's the problem, officers?
Shut up!
Uncle Henry?
It's all right, Conrad. Gentlemen, I think you're making a mistake here.
Shut up!
I don't know what this is all about, but you got the wrong guy. I'm a public defender for the county. I got my bar card.
I told you to shut up!
Uncle Henry?
Go home, kid. Uncle Henry's gonna be tied up for a while.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you.
Here he is.
Hey, man, where you been?
I'm sorry, man.
What happened to your head?
Nothing. Where are we?
I was just asking Jamal if he ever got hit.
Man, I don't remember not getting hit. Sure, after my dad left, my mom's kind of lost it.
Is that when she started taking drugs?
Drugs? Oh, you mean she did drugs? I always wondered why she never got off the couch after 3 in the afternoon.
Cut the crap, Jamal. You know what I mean.
Ooh, she tough. What you doing hanging out with such a mean hoe, man? See, I can tell you've been hanging around her too much because of your hair.
Oh, what do you mean? What's up with my hair?
Jamal, did your mother ever try and give you drugs?
Yo, Poindexter. So you know what you need, man? You hang down. You need yourself a fade.
I don't know, Money. I don't think Faye's gonna be too hype in court.
Hank, we don't have much time left.
Is she just uptight all the time?
Jamal, it's important that we get through these questions. We're talking about your life here. This is the stuff that could make a difference.
Look, lady, don't waste your time. I see the jury's faces, and it ain't nothing nobody gonna say gonna make those folks wanna save Jamal's sorry ass.
Well, I don't buy that.
Well, I don't give a damn what you buy.
Look, Jamal, if you have a problem with me,
Rosie,
no, I
just
think
drop
we
it.
should deal with it
Look,
right
will
now.
you just drop it? Look, let's not get sidetracked, all right, Jamal? We only got a few minutes, so let's talk about your school.
Would you mind telling me what the hell that was all about?
What?
You put rank on me in front of a client.
You were personalizing it.
Personal. I was trying to get him to take this thing seriously. The two of you were discussing hairstyles.
How do you think I'm supposed to get the kid to trust me? Tell him he's going to the gas chamber?
He's supposed to trust both of us. What you did back there was divisive. You were getting close to him at my expense. Hank, I have been on this case as long as you
Look,
have.
I'm sorry if you felt like I pulled rank, but I'm lead counsel on this case, and my first priority is the client.
Technically, you're lead counsel, but I am not your paralegal either. I have as much vested in this case as you have. And while we're at it, I'd like to discuss how we're going to handle the rest of this trial.
What about it?
I think I should do the summation.
What?
It's psychology, Hank. You did the guilt phase and tried to convince the jury that Jamal was innocent. They didn't buy it. The jury does not know me. I'll have much more credibility trying to convince them not to give him death, regardless of what he did.
Forget it.
Why?
This is my case, Rosie. That kid's life's on the line.
We are co-counsels on this.
You cannot convey to the jury what it's like to grow up in the ghetto, to be homeless, to be faceless, to be black as effectively as I can.
You think you can do a better job because you're black?
In this case, yeah.
Well, that's ridiculous. I don't have to be a prostitute to defend prostitutes. I don't have to be a rapist to defend rapists. It's my job, and I'm damn good at it.
Well, that's the difference between us. To you, it's just a job.
Just a job? Is that what you think of me after all these months?
Oh, yes, Marie, that's it. Right there, that's the spot. Oh, thank you.
Todd's been anxious to talk to you about your case, Rosie.
I'm sure he has. I remember his electric bleacher theory.
What was that?
Todd thinks that everyone on death row should be put on electric bleachers and then pull the switch. He's quite the humanist.
He's just yanking your chain, Rosie.
I always did think he had an odd sense of humor.
He's overstating the case, but the minute I became a mother, I understood the feeling. I mean, if someone hurt my kids, I would track them down and tear them limb from limb.
Darling, who are we to decide who should live and who should die?
Oh, Mother. You're just against the death penalty because the church says it's immoral.
For your information, the Catholic Church does not say it's immoral.
Then why are you against it?
Because to me, it's a very cynical thing, saying that some people are beyond redemption. I just don't feel that way.
Rosie, do you believe this?
Killing Rosie's client isn't going to bring back his victim. So what's the point?
Marie, would you do my low back, please?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't made up my mind on this, but maybe it would stop someone from doing the same thing.
The death penalty has never been a deterrent, Doreen. I'd really like to thank both of you for inviting me here this morning. And there's nothing like a relaxing massage to get the stress out.
You're welcome.
Rosie, you gotta relax. And I got just the thing.
What is that, Ricky Ricardo?
It's the mambo, Rosie. Come on.
Oh.
Give it a try.
No, it's all right, Ben. It's very impressive, though. You really look like you know what you're doing.
When I was a kid, Rosie, I was the best. I used to win all the mambo contests. I was this little short, fat Jewish kid with eyeglasses. And I won all the contests with Cubans and Puerto Ricans. Harriet and I loved to dance. I met her on a dance floor in a club in New York. She was so cute. She had this way of doing the cha-cha-cha. Still turns me on. Come on. Come on,
No.
give it a try.
Ben, I don't-
Rosie,
I don't-
come on. Two. Two. Two, three, two. 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 Ho! This is the way I handle stress. All around. Ho!
He was such a skinny thing for a 9-year-old. He hadn't been eating very well for quite some time. I guess what he ate, he just fixed himself.
Did he tell you anything else about his home life, Miss Hayden?
Just that his mother used to say that
Objection. Hearsay.
Sustained.
Did you see any evidence of abuse?
Sure. Some bruises, cuts. He had a broken wrist that didn't mend right. He used to hide in a closet when anyone raised their voice.
How did Jamal fit into your family?
He was like one of our own. If my husband hadn't hurt his back and been laid off from work, Jamal probably would have stayed with us until he was of age.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Your witness?
Miss Hayden, do you recall the police coming to your house several times in 1981?
Objection, irrelevant.
Overruled.
Yes.
It's a fact, is it not, that you were aware that Jamal was arrested and convicted of attacking Nicky Kimber and stealing his bicycle on February 2nd, 1981?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, the stolen bike turned up in your garage, didn't it?
But it was all a big mistake. Jamal found the bike outside and brought it in for safekeeping.
Didn't Jamal have other run-ins with the police while he was staying with you?
Objection.
Sustained.
According to police records, Jamal was cited 3 times for vandalizing school property and twice for shoplifting as a minor.
Objection.
Those charges were dropped.
Sustained. Jury will disregard that last question and the response.
Ms. Hayden, I wouldn't call Jamal Bell an easy kid to foster parent, would you?
Your Honor, I object.
Overruled. Mr. Mitchell, answer the question, Ms. Hayden.
None of them are easy. As a foster parent, you have to learn to expect a little trouble.
A little trouble? Ms. Hayden, why did Jamal Bell leave your house?
Objection. She's already answered that question.
Sustained.
Didn't you call Jamal's social worker on October 23rd, 1981 and request a new placement for him just 3 days after his last arrest?
Yes, but
And you're trying to tell us that there's no connection whatsoever between Jamal Bell's erratic and antisocial behavior
Objection.
and his removal from your
Argumentative.
house?
Sustained.
Your Honor, may I approach the bench, please?
Approach.
I'm not feeling very well. I'd like to be excused for a little while.
The court will take a 10-minute recess.
What happened? Order! Would someone call 911, please?
Don't worry about me. I'll be out here in a few days.
Hank, why don't you say something?
I told you that it was just heartburn.
Didn't it ever occur to you you were drinking an awful lot of that pink stuff?
Guys, they just removed the third of my stomach. Could you give me a break?
The judge sends his best. I gotta hand it to you, Hank. If you were gonna pass out in court, you couldn't have picked a better time. Duncan is demanding a note from your doctor.
I'm still handling the summation. I don't care if they have to wheel me in at court. This thing's stuck in my nose.
You may want to try that anyway, but the jury'd eat it up.
I mean it, Ben.
Okay.
After all this, I owe the kid that much.
No one's arguing with you, Hank.
Listen, you two, the party's over. Come on, Rosie, let's go. Hank needs his beauty sleep.
Bye.
Take it easy, Hank.
So when he coming back?
I don't know. He's pretty sick, Jamal.
Great. What am I supposed to do without a lawyer?
You've got me.
I don't want you.
Look, Jamal, I know this isn't what you expected, but everything's gonna be fine.
Not the way I see it. I mean, what's gonna happen to me now that the good one's gone?
Hank and I started together on your case.
No! I don't want you! You're gonna mess it up!
Look, Jamal.
I want another lawyer.
Well, it's a little late in the game to be asking for another lawyer.
It's not fair.
Fine. I'll talk to Hank and see what he thinks.
Yeah. You tell him to get me somebody I can talk to, lady.
another misdemeanor. Just your typical upstanding citizen arrested for indecent exposure and urinating in public. And what am I supposed to do with this?
I plead necessity.
Oh, very funny. You know, I've been here 7 months. I've handled every trivial misdemeanor tossed my way. When do I get to try something a little more serious?
The last time you tried something more serious, you got arrested.
That was a simple misunderstanding with an oversensitive judge, for which I was completely exonerated.
For which you were completely taken off the case.
Oh, Rosie, I got the independent psych report on Jamal Bell.
Thanks, Barbara.
So you're telling me the shrink said Jamal had a terrible, abusive childhood?
Yes.
But he also might have some kind of personality disorder that makes him run around killing people?
That could make his behavior violent and antisocial, yes.
Oh, Rosie, that's no good.
It's exactly what we need. A medical expert testifying that Jamal was subjected to a lifetime of psychological and physical abuse. It's perfect.
Yeah, but he's telling the jury the kid's dangerous. I mean, that could totally wipe out all the other compelling information. I mean, you got anything to eat?
Thought you weren't supposed to eat anything until you were regular. Look, who else can we put on the stand? The kid spent 3 years on the streets. Nobody paid any attention to him except his girlfriend, who's hardly a credible witness.
Well, the guidance counselor, she knew him. She saw firsthand that his mother neglected him until social services removed him from her home.
I don't think it would be nearly as effective.
Yeah, well, the shrink's too risky.
I'll run it by Ben.
You don't have to run it by Ben. I'm telling you, the shrink's too risky.
I'm telling you, I'll think about it.
Just a second.
Please call operator. Dr. Kenneth,
You okay?
call the operator.
Great. I better get back to my room.
Hank? One other little thing. Jamal and I are having a problem.
What?
He wants a different attorney. I told him I'd ask what you thought.
Tell him I think he's wrong.
Hi.
Hi. What are you listening to?
Waves. My sister gave this to me to help me relax.
That's a great idea. How does it make you feel?
Like I'm drowning.
Are you?
Little.
I know. That's how it always is with death penalty cases.
How many did you do?
2. I found I didn't have the stomach for it. I witnessed an execution when I was a clerk. I was 23 and worked on the last losing round of appeals with my boss. He felt I should be there at the execution. I'll never forget it, Rosie. They dragged the prisoner to the gas chamber, strapped him to the chair. They had him in a brand new shirt. I mean, somebody had actually ironed it. I remember seeing the creases, the sleeves. And then the pellets were dropped. Right away, he just slumped forward. I thought, death by gas is really immediate. And then all of a sudden, he slowly sat up and looked directly at the window that we were sitting behind. His mouth, it was constantly moving, no words, just was moving. And he sat like that, his chest heaving, his mouth moving, his hands, they were like this. Just minute after minute. So long. The guard said, oh, he's not feeling anything. Like, well, how do you know it? I mean, how did the guard know what this guy was feeling? Anyway, then the guy raised his head, looked up, and just slumped forward. The official count was 11 minutes, half of which he seemed to spend staring right at us. I wonder what we looked like. All of us watching him die.
Me and some of the guys were thinking if we could find those cops, we could do something to them, Uncle Henry.
Well, yeah, like what?
Like wait for them to get out work and follow them to their car.
Oh, wait a minute. It's not always like that, Conrad. It's like anything else. There are good cops and bad cops.
But why'd they mess with you, Uncle Henry? You weren't doing nothing wrong. Jimmy Washington says those white cops go out looking to do that.
Oh, yeah, and I guess Jimmy Washington's an authority on this subject.
Doesn't it make you mad, Uncle Henry?
Hell yeah, it makes me mad. But it's normal to be angry, Conrad. It's just, it's not those specific cops that you should be angry about. It's an attitude that some people have in this country. Some people can't see beyond the way a person looks. Those men jump to a conclusion about me based on their own limited way of thinking. You gotta see beyond a person's exterior. You gotta be bigger than people like those cops. You don't need to be small-minded like them, do what they do.
They handcuffed you.
Yeah. I wish I could promise you that what happened to me in that park will never happen to you. But I can't.
This is the most outrageous request I've ever heard.
Because of his illness, Your Honor, Mr. Mitchell will be unable to appear in court for at least another week.
We can't keep the jury twiddling its thumbs for another week while we wait for Mr. Mitchell to feel better. To do so would be to invite a mistrial, and that would be a travesty of justice, Your Honor.
I hear you, Mr. Watts.
Mr. Mitchell is lead counsel on this case, Your Honor, and as such feels he should do the summation.
While I regret Mr. Mitchell's illness, Your Honor, Ms. O'Neill has been in court throughout the course of this trial and is perfectly qualified to see the trial to its conclusion.
I too regret Mr. Mitchell's illness, Ms. O'Neill. However, since both of you filed on appearance at the start of the trial, I am determining that we are going forward.
The way I see it, you've got two options. You can either stick with me and trust that I will do my best to keep you off death row, or you can ask for another attorney. In which case, the judge probably won't allow it, and you're going to be stuck with me anyway. It's up to you.
What kind of a choice is that?
Only choice you've got.
I don't want to die.
I know you don't.
Why you have to fight me? You should have just gave me the damn watch.
Look, we can't go backward, Jamal. It happened. Now it's up to us to show the jury that you're not beyond redemption.
What's that mean?
You're 19 years old. Your father was in prison most of your life. Your mother was a drug addict who beat you and neglected you probably from the day you could walk. Now, none of these things excuse what you did. But I do not believe you deserve to die for it. And I am willing to put my butt on the line to try and keep that from happening. But I can't do it alone.
You think I could get me a suit that fits before we go back to court?
I'll see what I can do.
All the jurors are present. You may proceed with your final argument, Ms. O'Neill.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Counsel. Your Honor. When we first met, we talked about the kinds of cases that warrant the death penalty. The kinds of cases that warrant the possibility of parole. I mean, the kinds of cases that warrant life without the possibility of parole. Sorry, Your Honor, I don't seem to recall.
You got to get into the mindset of this kid. He's young, he's abused, kicked around, filled with a rage that he can't verbalize. So the rage builds and builds and builds until one day, with a gun in his hand, he sees a guy who has everything that he himself never has a chance of getting.
I know that, Hank.
This kid has never felt safe, not even in his own family. He's living on the street, no one sees him. He's an invisible man.
I know that. And the only attention anyone ever gave him was when he got arrested.
Right. And then they want to execute him. Maybe you ought to point out that there are more black men incarcerated in this country than in South Africa. How many of them grew up the same way?
I know, Hank. But what is the point of bringing that up in court? His race is not a mitigating factor.
You know, as far as I'm concerned, it is. If you're treated like a dog all your life, like you're subhuman, one day you get sick of it and you lash out.
And I'm supposed to tell that to the jury? How can I say that to them with any sort of credibility?
Well, damn it, that's why I should be doing this thing. What the hell do you know about what it's like to be black? To have people afraid of you just because of the color of your skin. To walk across the street in Beverly Hills and hear the car locks clicking down as you pass. You can't even begin to relate to that.
Hank, race is not the only factor here. And do you think you could get that chip off your shoulder long enough to discuss this trial? For God's sake, I am about to give the closing argument on my first death penalty case. I cannot be you. I could use your help.
Look, Rosie, I'm sorry. Something happened to me. I'm having a hard time getting it out of my mind.
What? Well, tell me, what happened?
I was playing basketball with my nephew. And the next thing I know, I'm face down in the dirt, being handcuffed by a bunch of cops, right in front of Conrad.
Why?
Why do you think? Something went down in the neighborhood. A kid robbed a store. I don't know. As far as those cops were concerned, I fit the bill.
You must have been furious.
No. No, I was scared. I was real scared. I mean, they had the guns pointing right at my head. And I was embarrassed because it was right in front of my nephew. It was humiliating. All of a sudden, I realized that to them, without my briefcase, without my nice suit, without my bar card, I was just another nigger.
All the jurors are present. You may proceed with your final argument, Ms. O'Neill.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Counsel, Your Honor. I feel a little like a coiled spring, and I just didn't want to poing all over the courtroom. You have a man's life in your hands today. It's a big responsibility. Now, I'm not going to try and convince you that Jamal Bell is not guilty. You have already decided that. However, the fact that you have convicted him of first-degree murder with a special circumstance does not mean that you must sentence him to death. Not everyone in this category gets the death penalty. Some get life without parole. It's your duty today to make that distinction. Will Jamal Bell, out of all the people who have committed the most serious of offenses, die in prison of old age? Or will he be executed? When I was thinking about what to talk to you about today, I was thinking of all the tiny little things that could have been different. The things that might have prevented this tragedy from happening. What if, as a child, Jamal had not been beaten every time that he made a mistake? What if someone had realized that he couldn't even read? What if just one person had taken notice of a 16-year-old boy living on the streets, invisible, filled with rage? What if we didn't live in a society where there are more young black men in jail than there are in college? What if things had been different? Perhaps there wouldn't have been a victim. And we wouldn't be here today deciding whether Jamal Bell lives or dies.
What time is it?
A little after 7 p.m.
I must have dozed off. What is it? What happened?
The jury came back. They gave him life.
Oh, thank God. That's great. That's great, Rosie. What's the matter? Come on, tell me. What's the matter?
I guess I thought I couldn't do it.
You did it all right. You did it good.